Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. Today we're going to finish up with the Saab 96. We have the whole front clip completely finished. We'll show you just one more combination here that will work very quickly. This is the Lake Country low-length pre-washed lamb's wool pad, and we'll team that up with the first generation Drill Master. This was the Drill Master found at Harbor Freight when they sold decent polishers at the time. It has completed hundreds of corrections with only the carbon brushes needing to be replaced and the grease repacked. You can see the transfer from the single stage paint that needs to be cleaned out after every pass. We are still using the Sonax 0505, and as we remove the residue, you'll see yet another lethal combination with nice turnaround on this oxidized single stage paint. And then with half of the roof finished, and the roof as a whole cleaned up and ready to go. So let's continue down those pillars and use the Lake Country microfiber 2-inch cutting pad on our 2-inch pneumatic polishing tool. Well, on our way now, from there we jump down to the driver's side door and we'll continue back around the back of the car and finish the passenger side to wrap this project up. For that, I'll go back to the combination that was most successful and felt the best to me. That was the MacShine M550 Mini Rotary and the Lake Country Hybrid Blue cutting pad. And we're going to stick with the Sonax 0505. Driver's side complete. We're moving along at a nice decent pace. Now time to get to the back of the car, come around to the passenger side, and we're done. And that will wrap it up. The entire car, the entire single stage paint on the Saab 96 is cleaned up and it's ready to receive some protection. However, we have to do one little thing here, and that is break out the extension for the rotary and take care of the meticulous little designs in the grille here. Alright, move on to the next step. We're going to clean up the surface and get it ready for protection. We're using the purest paint prep here, and I'm not going to spray directly onto the surface. I don't want to remove the acrylic we laid down, but I do want to remove any residue that's left over from the polish, so I'm going to spray directly into a damp towel and clean up from there. Repeat the process all the way around the car on all surfaces that you're going to protect. For protection, for single stage, I like to go with the Class High Gloss Sealant Glaze. This is an acrylic sealant and will layer on top of the acrylic protection we laid down from the Flash Pro that has already cured and formed a crust all over that porous single stage. So we can now build upon the protection, and it takes very little. If you're working with the Class High Gloss Sealant Glaze, just a little bit, 1 or 2 drops on the pad will be enough for the size of a hood. You go any heavier than that, it can get a little difficult to work with. Spread out that glaze nice and even and thin on each panel, and as you go around the car, by the time you're finished, you can come up to where you started and start to wipe it off. This is what it'll look like after 10 minutes, a slight haze, and if you follow the procedure that I showed you using the Class High Gloss Sealant, it'll wipe off just as easy as this. This stuff seems to have been around for decades, and when it comes to single stage paints, I hope it's around for decades more. As I finish up, I'll pull it out under the sunlight. My worst critic is the paint. Perfect? Absolutely not even close. It was refinished in the late 80s, probably in the Serengeti Desert during a dust storm, but we have it looking good. And you got to remember, cars in the 60s were not running around looking like mirrors. Sometimes when you overcorrect classic and antique cars, they lose value. You want to keep things looking pertinent to the time period. That'll do it, guys. You got to see some combinations that work on hard, stubborn surfaces. If you like the content, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. That'll let you know when we have new videos.